Hi there, Leonard Parker here, and in this segment of the SEO lesson, I'm going to go into detail on how you can start off doing some really good keyword research for your SEO campaign. So, really, when you're thinking about keyword research, you should think about this. If you put yourself in the shoes of your prospective customer, so most of them they're in an emergency situation. They're really looking for someone to help them restore the damage and do so as quickly as possible. In these cases, you really want to hit, what we call bottom of the funnel. So they're ready to buy. They're just looking for who is the best restoration company to go with. But if you have any services that aren't really emergency services, like carpet cleaning, for example, think about what are some of the other things someone would be considering when they're looking for a service provider. But that's really always going to be the starting point. Think about what types of things your prospective customer is putting into Google, and build your keyword list that way. So, keyword research tools. So there are a lot of really good paid software out there. But if you're only doing this for one website, well, then it might not make sense to go and get a subscription to one of those paid software offerings. So look at Google Search Console. If you already have a website, this is a free utility from Google that you should be using. So if it isn't installed, then the way you know if it's installed or not, just type in Google Search Console into Google. And just click one of these options. And if you're logged into your Google account and you don't see anything coming up, well, then that's how you know that it's not installed. So you need to go and set up Google Search Console for your website. So let's say you just have a brand new website, and you're just getting these things set up. So you won't have any data in your Google Search Console. In those cases, I like to use another tool called Ubersuggest. And what I like about this too, first off, it's free, so that's always good. But then all you need is to log in or set up an account with your Google account, your Gmail, and then you can actually use this to find some really good keywords for your services. So let's just say, for example, and I'll do something really general like water damage restoration. I'm sorry. So first you would go to the overview tab, go to water damage, go to the search bar, type in water damage restoration, and hit search. So it might take a little bit of time to load, but you can see here, these are the search numbers nationwide. And it'll even give you some information about Google Ads. So that's on average how much you are spending per click if you're bidding for water damage restoration. Now, when you scroll down here, just go to view all keyword ideas. So you kind of get a feel for some different phrases here. So water damage restoration, restoration near me. A lot of these are local keywords, so it's basically water damage restoration plus the city. So whatever your location is or target locations are, recommend that you add those as target phrases. Cost of water damage restoration costs, water damage restoration tips, which depending on your strategy may not be a good keyword because these are more than likely people who are looking to do it themselves. But maybe if there's something that they can do to prevent water damage emergencies, then that could be a good keyword to go after. Let's see what else here. So a lot of these are kind of niche or location related. But let's say, well, first let's go to the related tab here. See if there are any ideas there. I think it'll load it. So going back to one of our previous videos where we went over how to do the Q&A. So this is another way you can go and find some questions that people are asking. They have a questions tab here, which is great. So you can see here, these are some other phrases you can use. So smoke and water damage restoration. So you really have to go through here and figure out what's relevant for your business and the services that your company provides. Importance of water damage restoration, benefits of water damage restoration, steps. So again, it might be someone who's trying to do it themselves. Yeah, so really just going through here and figure out what's relevant. Now, another reason why I like this tool, let's say that you have a competitor and they're doing really well in the Google search results. So for this example, I'll go back to Chicago and let's go to the first page. So a good strategy when you're getting started with SEO and you're trying to figure out which keywords to target and you're really just not sure where to start is to look at the top 3 to 5 search results here. So we have Yelp.com, Expertise.com. I will avoid websites like these, but actually look at actual company websites. So Chicago Water and Fire.com looks like a pretty good one. So let's plug this back into our Ubersuggest tool. And again, give that a few seconds to load some information. So these guys, they're ranking for 379 keywords. So if I'm in Chicago and I know these guys are one of my competitors, and I'll pretty much start looking at this list here. So Chicago Water and Fire. Let's sort this by position because that'll give us some relevant phrases. Doesn't look like it's sorting for me right now, but you can always export this to an Excel file if you're doing this yourself, and you can sort it in Excel. But why don't we go ahead and do that actually? So let's open this with Excel. Okay. So again, we're trying to kind of get an idea on what they're really ranking well for, because that will give us a good idea on actually relevant keywords. So data, filter, sort from A to Z. So that's going to give us some Chicago related terms too. So I would just go down this list and see, kind of what are they going after, where are they ranking for. Now we'll maybe go no lower than 20. And those would be good, initial targets for your website. And of course, you want to look at volume as well. Volume on average, that's how many people are searching for that phrase every month. And then one very important thing to consider here as well is the difficulty. So it's great. Let's say you found a phrase that's relevant for your restoration company. It gets 5,000 searches per month, but let's say the difficulty is 90. And let's say you're just now starting your website or you really haven't put much effort into your website. And so let's say your rating is at maybe a 20. So in order to rank for that phrase, you have a very long uphill battle because that keyword, if it has a difficulty of 90, that shows that it's a very competitive keyword. And more than likely, you're going to be going against websites that, are well established, have great SEO, great backlinks, and the whole nine. So what I would recommend if you're starting off, or even if you're just really getting going with your SEO, is to look at your domain score, and I'll show you what that is in a minute, and try to target those phrases that have, difficulty that's in a ballpark range. So maybe no more than a few more spots above it. So let's say your domain score was a 20. I probably wouldn't try to go after anything higher than a 25, but anything under 20, that's fair game. And then kind of just filter out and then figure out, okay, of those phrases, which of those actually have some volume. And that way you're going after phrases where in a 6 month to 12-month timeline, you actually have a realistic chance of ranking for. Whereas with going after something that has a 90 difficulty, you could be trying for years and still won't get there. So that's one way you can save some time on improving your rankings for keywords, so that you can drive traffic and get leads for phrases that are, or queries that are very relevant to your business and your services. Now, I did mention something about your domain score, and since we're already in Neil Patel's tool, we can stay here. But there are other tools out there like Moz, Ahrefs, SEMrush. They all have their own version of domain score. So these guys actually have a domain score of 2. So if I'm in Chicago, I would probably try to go after this because that's not a very high domain score at all. And they're actually ranking for some pretty competitive keywords. So that tells me, as an SEO, as a digital marketer, that there might be a good opportunity there. Nevertheless, that's what I would look at when doing my keyword research. And then if you don't want to go through all that, a simpler way to get some keywords is just go to Google, go to, let's just type in Chicago water damage restoration. Look at what phrases are popping up here in this drop-down menu. These are phrases that people are using frequently, and these are always good additions to your target keyword list. Hit search. And then sometimes you'll have here at the bottom, there'll be some other ideas as well. So searches related to Chicago water damage restoration. Sometimes it's just a repeat of what was in the dropdown, but sometimes there are also some new phrases here. So those are some quick ways you can get, some keyword ideas for your restoration website. Now, when it actually comes to optimizing your website for those keywords, there are a few things you want to keep in mind here. So let's say you're a full service restoration company. You offer fire, mold, water, odor elimination, and so on. You want to have specific pages for each of those keywords. And what I like to use is called a keyword map, where you basically take every important page on your website that you would like to rank and then map it to a keyword or a series of keywords. And then that makes sure that each page is targeting, you really positioning that page to do well for that keyword. You want to make sure that you use your keywords and your title tags. And if you're not clear what a title tag is, it's pretty much, let's actually go to a website so you'll see. Let's go back to our friends at Chicago Water and Fire. So your title tag is this little text here that just popped up. So for their homepage, it's Chicago Water and Fire Restoration, 24-hour emergency response. So pretty straightforward there. So that's your title tag. So what you want to do is usually take your most important keyword and stick it into the title tag for your homepage. And then, depending on what the page is about, so let's see what they have going on in their services pages. So this is their water mitigation page. So they chose to use water damage restoration. And then you have the option of including your company name at the end, or if there's some unique value that you offer. In this case, they offer 24-hour service and response. That's somewhere where you can include it in your title tag. In your alt tag, so your alt tag is something actually you can't see from the front end of your website, but Google, they prefer that the websites that they return in their search engine they're as user-friendly as possible. And alt tags originally were all about accessibility. So if I'm using a website and I'm vision impaired, alt tag is something that you attach to your image to give it more context, and it will tell that person who's vision impaired what that image is about. So it provides some context for that image. Now that alt tag is somewhere where you can also include a keyword along with a longer description of what that image is about. So that's a great place to include your keyword as well. Internal links. So let's say, let's use their page for example. They have all of these different services. And so let's say under the water mitigation section, they had 4 to 5 pages all related in some way to water mitigation or water damage restoration. It's a very good strategy to link all of these pages together. And this is what we call in the SEO language a silo. And basically you're creating a topical silo just on water damage restoration or water mitigation. And by linking all of those pages together, when Google crawls or reviews the website, they're going to link and associate all of these pages together, and it's going to help your website with topical relevancy around that area. So a good strategy, let's say for 2020, you really want more mold remediation jobs. So in that case, what I would recommend is not only do you have your mold remediation page, but you also put together, maybe 4 to 5 other pages, and that's just a starting point, that really go into detailed topics about mold remediation. So things that your prospective customers should know before they call you. And once you have all of those articles published on your website, then link them together to really improve the website's topical relevance for mold remediation. And then finally, when you're looking at keywords, you don't want to over-optimize. And this can get really tricky, but a good rule of thumb here is, don't do something that's obviously spammy. So if you have a page on your website that's 500 words, there shouldn't be 50 instances of the same phrase over and over again. That's obviously spammy and that's over-optimized. There are a lot of different ways where you can over-optimize for a keyword and might not even know it. And that can vary based on your competitors, that can vary based on your website and your content on your page. So if you need help figuring out, where you're over-optimizing for your keywords, or if you're brand new to this SEO stuff and really just need help with the research part, we are providing free consultations to viewers of this webinar. And so my picture's in the way, but you can call this number. We can provide a free consultation. There's no obligation, but if we do see a way that we can help you long term, I would be making an offer at the end of that call. But if you're just looking for some direction on where to go, feel free to give us a call for that consultation. And that brings me to the end of the video regarding keywords. Keywords are very important, and they're pretty much the starting point when you're talking about SEO for your website. Now, in the next segment, I'm going to go more into detail about business citations for your SEO.